So, I feel a mood shift within me, or just like an overall shift in my mind. And I think it occurred this weekend. Last weekend, where I went to the Sherwood, Forest Fair with a friend, and got some gifts for my family and as well as for my friend. And I think that's, you know, I think that's the first time where I actually thought of a scenario that would normally make me upset or potentially angry. And I kind of just envision letting go on that scenario and just not really caring. Or just showing, restraint, more restraint. And, granted, I have been on psychedelics for, the past couple of months or a month or so. When I say on, I mean, like, usually I'll take something throughout the day that's not going to make me sleepy, like sativa, or like a microdose of shroom gummies, or like a shroom chocolate, just to kind of help keep myself stabilized. Mostly because, I don't know all the mental health issues that I potentially have. The only thing I do know is it's definitely depression and anxiety. That's what I do have, but, there are a slew of other mental health issues that run in my family. I've had two overall differing diagnoses, one by my former therapist who, made the assertion that I potentially have bipolar depression, and bipolar does run in my family. And then my former psychiatrist, came up with the conclusion that I potentially have borderline personality disorder. Mostly because also the medications they were recommending weren't having an effect on me. Because I would still get my mood swings, I would still go through my cycles, and it's just nothing was really working. Granted, I'm not on the medications anymore, so there's that. But I'm debating about maybe just seeing a psychiatrist briefly, so that way they can actually diagnose me. It's just the problem is I don't know if it's going to be an accurate diagnosis, because then again, when it comes to mental illness, it's such a tricky thing to diagnose, because you can easily misdiagnose someone, I feel, just based on the fact that maybe they're not exhibiting all the symptoms that they should exhibit for like one particular illness, but they're exhibiting enough symptoms to put themselves in this category, But, I don't feel as angry anymore. I don't feel as agitated. I still get irritable. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I feel more calm and, I guess in control. But granted, I still have my depressive spirals. And, I still have my, suicidal ideations that I don't know if that'll ever go away, regardless, if my situation improves or not. Mostly because I just overanalyze and just see too much of what's going on, and it's painful. It's painful living with that knowledge, but it's also painful seeing other people not see what I see. It just makes me feel alone. But I could say for the first time in about a year and a half or so that I think I'm okay just being alone for a bit. It's like a love-hate situation, Maybe I can use my physics lingo. I'm in a superposition of not wanting to be alone and wanting to be alone. And I'm okay with that. Right now I am thankful to say that I have a car. I am thankful to say that, I still have some savings to, go out and enjoy life. Try to find things that I like to do, maybe new things. And, heard that my company is potentially expanding a bit, so that would mean that I could potentially move on up, or just, have a more stable, or have a greater sense of stability, But overall I've been feeling better, but there are moments where I still get down. There are still my depressive spirals, and that's something that I need to figure out how to tackle. But again, I think that would be best if it would be best if I got a proper diagnosis and, go from there. And as far as the psychedelics go, it's great and all, but I also realize that I probably can't rely on that stuff forever because, there's this whole fucking ban going around that's going to take effect in, the end of 2026, or, all these THCA, these hemp-derived products and these shroom gummies and, shroom edibles, they're all going to go away. And being the fact that I live in Texas, they're probably going to try to make it illegal here. So that just means that I'm up shit's creek without a paddle. And I gotta find some other way of stabilizing my mood. And I've gotten a few recommendations as far as vitamins, minerals, things that I could take that would help stabilize my mood. So I'll probably look into that. Probably might take this weekend to dive into it a little bit and come up with a list of things that could potentially help me. But yeah. And granted, I post a lot of shit on social media, and I understand the absurdity of doing so, but I think in a way it's our own little scream into the void, if you will. I don't have a lot of people to talk to in person, so I just feel like it's best that I just yell out my thoughts into the void. And granted, I have posted some things that, in retrospect are now, just kind of stupid, but, I leave it up anyway so I can kind of just take a look at my own mistakes and just realize, wow, I was stupid then. But, I understand it's kind of absurd, but, I feel better writing down what I feel and all. Doesn't always mean that it's right. It's what I, feel in the moment. But, yeah. So, that's what I wanted to talk about for now. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.